Revolute mate allows parts to rotate around their z-axis. This is perfect for shafts inside of bearing plates, turntables, and hinges. Note that turntables and hinges both have this mate applied to them already when you bring them into an assembly. For this example, the shaft will rotate inside of the two bearing plates and be contained by the half-pitch shaft collars on either side of the bearing plates. First, we're going to select the Revolute mate. Now, select the mate connector that's attached to the shaft collar. Note that this shaft collar is already fastened to the shaft. Then select the mate connector, not the one that's inside of the bearing plate, but the one that's on the surface of the bearing plate. So you can move around until your cursor highlights the one that's on the outside edge of that hole through the bearing plate. When you apply this, notice that it moved the shaft collar, but not the shaft. Click the Solve button so that Onshape solves for all of the parts and mates that are inside of your assembly document. If you're happy with how the mate is constrained, click on the check mark. Now, we'll be able to rotate that shaft and shaft collar inside of the bearing plates. Notice that you cannot move the bearing plates or the shaft side to side from the bearing plates. Now, we need to constrain the other half-pitch shaft collar to the other side of the shaft. For this, we're going to use a fasten mate and select the mate connector on the shaft collar and the mate connector on the shaft. We don't want the shaft collar to be out here in space, so we're going to apply an offset by clicking on the offset checkbox and applying a z-axis offset. In this case, we need to move our shaft collar 1.5 pitches. Remember that each pitch in the blueprint kit is 25 millimeters. So 37.5 millimeters is the offset, and now you can rotate this shaft and shaft collar assembly inside of the bearing plates. Learn how to set up gears in Revolute Mate Part 2, Gear Relations.